pushed. We are live. Scott has got a story to tell me about his bad week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've had it. Well, first off, uh, so Friday, the weather here has been terrible.
Yeah,
Been under freezing now for 2 weeks, week and a half, something like that.
yeah.
Uh, I I so Friday I had to go out to Yukon to do.
Oh, man.
Then I had to go by my parents. So Michelle and I went by my parents. Oh, sorry.
Just the word Yukon. That's a cold word.
Oh, yeah, exactly. How do you not expect it to be cold in Yukon? Anyway, we went to my parents and my father. Now, for our listeners, my father is suffering from dementia,
Mm.
and he's had for the past couple of years he's had some pretty obvious memory issues. So this is not a surprise. But during the lockdown, it's gotten a lot worse. Now,
Oh, boy.
I don't think it's because of the lockdown, but it certainly has gotten worse. Anyway, so and we know this has been going on for several months, so it's not like this happened all of a sudden. But Friday we go over there, and Dad was in his easy chair, and he was asleep. And Mom said, "Oh, Dad's been sleeping all day. He's been sleeping all day." And so, oh, okay. She goes, "Well, let me wake him up." And I said, "No, no, no, you don't have to wake him up." Because we were just dropping off. They had ran out of toilet paper, and Michelle
Mhm.
bought some when she went to the grocery store, and so we just took it by there. We had to go to Yukon anyway, so we took the toilet paper by. So, mom wakes Dad up, and she says, "Oh, Scott and Michelle are here." So okay, and then he pretty much goes back to sleep after that. So we thought, well, that's kind of odd, but not bad. Not well. So we go eat lunch at a barbecue place in Yukon, and then we get home and we're pulling in the driveway, and my cell phone rings. Now I'd gone to work in the morning. Michelle had ran out to meet me. I said, "I'll pull up because it's so cold." I said, "We'll take my car because it's already warmed up." I said, "Let me. I'll pull in the driveway, and you can just run out and meet me." So that's what she did. So I never went in the house. When we get back to the house, get ready to get out, and my cell phone rings, but I don't answer it because I think it's somebody else. And I said, "Well, I'll get it when we get inside." Well, then Michelle's rang, and she looked at it, and it was my mom. So
Mhm.
she goes, "Oh, something's wrong with Dad. We're going to take him to the hospital." So my father basically had to go to the hospital because the he has a nurse that comes by and checks on him. And with the weather being bad, she went ahead and checked on him. And Mom said, "Well, he's been he's been sleeping." Well, his blood pressure was low and his pulse was low.
Mm.
And so, we told Mom, we'll come to we'll be right, we'll come to the house. And we went back out to Yukon, and they were taking my dad, in the ambulance to the hospital, which he wasn't happy because he didn't understand what was going
No,
on,
yeah.
and it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't real good. He didn't want to go for sure. There's no doubt about that. And I think he was more scared than anything else. Anyway,
Yeah.
so so Mom went up there. Well, Mom had called them, and they would let Mom go in, but none of the rest of us. Uh, my so Michelle drove Mom up there to the hospital, and then it was going to wait out in the car. Well, then my sister called, or Mom called my sister, or something. So my sister came over, and we waited until they said they decided they were going to admit Dad to the hospital, and they said he had sepsis, which I didn't know much about, except we know somebody recently died of it. It's an infection of some kind,
Yeah, yeah.
and but they got that treated. But he's hadn't been doing real well now. So meanwhile, my mom is at the hospital, and Sunday they were going to release him, but then he's got a fever now, so they're trying to get him sorted out. He's doing better, but so yesterday, so then Friday we got home about 7 o'clock. So I'd been gone all day from 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning till 7 at night.
Mhm.
finally got home, and got that done, and so then we went Monday. So it's been cold. So my work has been closed. Either they were closed yesterday and they opened late 2 days. So I've been back to working at home. I have not been in the office this week. Uh, so we so yesterday my mom calls. We've been checking on Dad, and she said, "Well, I haven't been home." She goes, "I need to go home and get some clothes and take a shower." So we said, "Well, we can get you." Mom said, "No, I'll be okay."
Mm-hmm.
One of my sisters, one of my nephews went over and cleaned up their driveway, so she wouldn't have to deal with that. And so so Mom came home and she calls us and she goes, "My heater's not coming on."
Oh no.
And so she's kind of upset about it, and we said, "Well, we'll call." Now we have a friend who does HVAC. We've known him for a long time, and he does all of our work, and he does work for the church, and I think he does my parents' stuff anyway. Anyway. So Michelle called him, and he said, "Come out." And so we told Mom, "Don't worry about it. We'll meet him at the house. You just go take care of Dad." So we had to drive out to Yukon yesterday about 4. So I had to leave work. Michelle didn't want to go by herself, and I'm glad because the roads were pretty bad in Spunk.
Oh yeah.
So we go out there, and he tells us, the line is frozen. He said, you can wait, and it'll thaw out when it gets, Saturday when it gets above freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't have a heater until then, which, no one's there. He said, but you may run into other problems, other stuff could freeze.
Yeah.
Or he could replace the line. And so we called Mom. Mom said, just have her replace the line. So we gave him the code to the garage, and he had to go buy parts. And so we just left. So we come home, and we come home, and I'm in here drawing, and Michelle comes in and goes, "We don't have any water."
Oh God.
And we haven't had water for the last 24 hours, dude.
This kind of weather, you've already had something else like this happen already. It's like what can go wrong will go wrong. When we were talking our stories before about if it happens now, it'd be the worst time for it to happen, and of course that is when it will happen.
Right. That's all the systems are stressed.
Yeah.
And so luckily it was kind of dripping a little bit today. So we were able to get some water, but we went out and got snow to put in the back of the toilet so we could flush the toilet.
Oh man. Hey, I ought to do that. I ought to go. Oh man, that just made me think of something. I'm going to go out and get a couple of buckets of snow because I'm always needing a couple of buckets of water.
Let me just tell you, it takes forever for a bucket of snow to.
Yeah. If you want to cool something down, it'd be time to go out and buy some beers. That'd be great. Yeah, because it's going to take a long time to melt that snow.
Oh my gosh! I put a thing of snow, probably that big round thing, packed with snow in the microwave for 5 minutes, and it barely melted it.
No, it's going to take a long time to.
And you do not get a lot of water out of snow.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the beauty, the miracle of water is that it expands in size as it freezes. Mm-hmm. It's if it didn't, there'd be all kinds of things that wouldn't allow life on Earth.
Sure, I'll go with that. I don't know. I can't argue with that.
Well, I saw a thing talking about the absolutely amazing qualities of water one time about, for one thing, it can't compress. Yeah. If it didn't do that, life wouldn't be possible on Earth, at least not life as we know it. There's a lot of qualities about water that are only qualities about water. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. But
so I'm sorry about all this, Scott. Man, I tell you, it's awful to have loved ones that are, they've got like what your dad's got. It's just like a system breakdown, and there's
Uh,
nothing you can do about it. And
well,
all you,
my
you know,
dad is um the dementia, we've been dealing with for a while now, and it's it's just tough because I'm at the age and my dad's at the age where you think, boy, this is when people are like,
yeah, you don't understand each other better than any time in your life. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, okay, and there's so one of his neurologists has said that he has too much ammonia in his system,
Yeah.
and and,
That was
and that could
okay.
cause some of this.
Uh-huh.
So there's some hope that maybe, at some point, if they can get that straightened out, then maybe he'll be. I mean, I doubt he'll be. I mean, if he was like he was 8 months ago, we'd all be thrilled,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But he's just really gotten, worse, and it seems to come and go. And I go over there every Sunday evening. My wife goes to a women's prayer thing out in Yukon at our church, and I go over to my parents, and I usually go get them some they want me to go get them burgers, so I go get them burgers and bring them back, and I'll sit and talk to them while they eat, and then I'll go pick Michelle up. But uh, the honestly, my work was open today at noon, and I probably would have gone in because I need to, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. I mean, it's so cold. It's like, God. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Monday, I was driving home, and my tire, and it was kind of icy on Monday.
Uh-huh.
My tire light came on the highway. I was like, oh man. And so I stopped there happened to be a tire place right there. So I stopped, and the guy said, well, we don't, we're getting ready to close, but he said, let me look at it. And he looks at it, and he goes, I think you just need air. He said, I may have said that. I may have told you.
Yeah, you have told me. You have told me. I don't know if you told it last week though.
Anyway, all this cold snap is running together. Anyway, so I got air, but man, my fingers about froze getting air.
Yeah.
And I put air in 2 tires, and then I thought I better put my gloves on. But today we opened at noon, but I thought, man, if I go in, if something happens, you just freeze to death out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not going to work. Well, I told somebody today, I said, if I don't have water, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I mean, I work from home, but I really need to come in. But I don't. But I'm like, I'm not coming in if I didn't shower for 2 days. I mean,
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, we appreciate that. And I go, yeah, I get it. I get it. I don't want to come in.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I've been working on this. So okay, so this is the same page I've been working on forever. I've redrawn it. I've redrawn this face right here probably a dozen times.
I like the fact that the eyes are a little smaller than you usually make them. That makes it. I like the proportions better.
Well, I drew it and didn't like it. I drew it and didn't like it. I ended up even like drawing a skull on tracing paper just to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just had trouble with it. But so here's what I've done. I've decided I got to write a script.
Sure. Yeah. No. The word comes before the picture, even if you don't think it does.
Well,
you mentally give yourself a thing to draw in your mind that has to come from some sort of verbalization. You don't think it does, but it does. I mean, when I start drawing fairly often, it is just scribbling. Did I turn into something?
Yeah.
But even there, it's like, okay, I realize as I'm scribbling, this could become like this guy. Like I started with saying, okay, I'm going to do a punch throw, and I'm going to get the body dynamics of hand forward, foot back, and get that done properly so it looks good. And so that was on my mind to do. And sure enough, that's what's on the page right now. It's a guy throwing a punch,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm doing this just as an exercise as much as anything else. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if I'll ever go anywhere, but it's not really. It's kind of an experiment and kind of not, and kind of, but it's like I'm used to drawing from a script, so I need to work. I think I need to. I think I get into it. I just need something solid. I mean, I've got
Mm-hmm.
thumbnails, and it's funny. I'm writing the script. I'm thumbnailed it. I'm writing scripts for the thumbnails, and then I'm doing these here, like
Mm-hmm.
bigger thumbnails. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, this seems to work. So I'm just going to
No,
keep doing it.
that's great. Anytime you can dip into expanding as far as your process goes, that's good.
Yeah, I think I need it, but I think I need a script. I think
Yeah.
so even though I'm kind of working backwards, like I said, I've drawn this page at least 3 times. But you know what? I'm drawing on this paper that I bought, a ream of paper for like $20. So I got
Uh-huh.
500 sheets, you know. So what?
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
am
yeah, yeah,
treating
yeah. Toss them.
I am treating this like uh, not exactly, but I'm doing it like I would a sample. In other words, I'm looking at it. If I don't like it, it's like, okay, this has to be good, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm gonna like, okay, everything has to be perfect, but I'm just trying to make it look right. And I don't know, but I mean, it's something I'm doing just for me. So why not, be happy with it, you know.
Hey, I've titled this segment. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's something I think you'll probably have as much trouble with as if you were doing it for somebody else. But that's how you're keeping your hand in, and
Yep.
you know that's good.
Yep.
Hey, I titled this "Rest in Peace, Rush." I guess you knew
Oh my
Rush
God.
Rush died.
I
Um,
saw that.
yeah,
Oh,
and I haven't listened to him for gosh 8 years probably, but I know he's out there, and I always used to listen to him at work, and yeah, I can't tell you how much I appreciated Rush.
oh
He
yeah.
was uh, he was the only guy I felt that got it right, and I think he knew he was the only one getting it right as far as being what you could call a Bill Buckley level of conservative. Even
Yeah.
even if some people don't like Bill Buckley, I always just immediately said Rush gets it, about
Yeah. I
what we
uh,
need, where we need to go as a country.
yeah. Okay. So I started listening to Rush basically after the O.J. Simpson trial because during the trial I got used to listening to the trial at lunchtime,
Uh
and
huh.
when the trial
Yeah,
ended,
I
they
listened to
did
every hour of that damn trial. Yeah, it was
really.
on. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I listened to every bit of it.
what a joke. But anyway, the uh, I started listening to AM radio. Well, let me go back. I've listened to AM radio forever because my first car only had an AM radio in it, which
Hmm.
is probably hard to people nowadays. But it was a '74 Dodge Charger. It only had an AM radio, but there was a AM rock station here in Oklahoma City.
Coma.
No, 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 no. Well,
Uh,
they were there, but the cat had a
oh
simulcast.
yeah, the
I mean,
cat. Yeah, yeah, cat.
they had a simulcast. So I had that when I was in high school. Then the then when I got out of school, I delivered auto parts, and all my parts trucks only had AM radios, and because they were always the cheapest trucks they could get, and I would listen to the Cat simulcast. I would listen. I listened to a lot of AM radio, and so when the O.J. Simpson trial came up, many years later, I just listened to it, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed listening to it. I didn't enjoy the
Yeah, yeah.
trial, but
Marsha something or other. What was her name? The one that blew it.
Blew big time.
Yeah.
Marshall Clark. Well,
Yeah,
the
Marshall
judge,
Clark. Yeah.
OJ got the best defense money could buy.
Well, he just got everything they presented just got nullified by the jury. It didn't
Yeah.
matter what they were going to do.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to get into the OJ thing, but yeah, I
Okay,
definitely
okay.
about the OJ thing. We'll talk alone about the OJ thing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, there may be
Anyway,
some minefields there. Yeah, you never know.
we both get canceled.
Yeah,
No matter what we said, by the way.
yeah.
But so after that, I'd listen to KTOK, and my hair looks greasy in that picture. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I listened to KTOK, which is the local channel, played Rush, and I mean, I remember, it was a big deal because Rush was not live here in Oklahoma City. It was an hour delay, and so it didn't come until noon originally here.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually recorded at I forget, it was an hour ahead wherever he was recording from, and so when it came on noon here, there were restaurants around town that had Rush rooms. I remember there was one on Northwest Expressway, and you could go in, and I don't know where they got it, but they would play Rush live. You could hear it at an hour ahead of time. And I was reading an article about Rush not too long ago, and it was talking about, in Washington, D.C. popped up. And I'm like, they were all over the place in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is Rush was big in the 90s. Dude, but he's gotten bigger. I was reading an article about him today, and it said in 2019, he was getting an average of 19 million listeners a week. It's like, holy cow.
I remember when he was just starting out, and I've never been able to find this little mini article about him in Rolling Stone, but I always remember the condescending way they characterized Rush back when he was just starting. They called it the meatball underground. And it's like, you'd have to be a meatball to listen to this stuff, but it's out there. They acted like he was on the level of a ham radio operator, basically. And, Rolling Stone. But, boy, I'd love to find that phrasing again where they had just, a couple paragraphs on him.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed him. I listened to him. So I started listening to him whenever that ended, and I listened to him for a long time. I just listened to him every day, and I still I keep a radio in my car because when the weather's nice, I'll eat lunch in my car, and I'll listen to him or whoever. Lately, it's been a guest host, but I'll listen.
Yeah. Natasha International says, "Evening, I'm at a hotel so I can get to work." So you haven't. I hope you're being comped for that. That could be a what do you call it? Zero sum game or something gain in terms of like.
That's one of my employees. One of my employees called me today and said, "I'm not coming in because if I wreck my car, I won't make it. It doesn't make any sense to."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you can do the math on that is very easy to do. You don't want to wreck that car.
Please,
unless you want a new one and you got really great insurance.
Yeah. Car, and but it is 4-wheel drive. But I mean, she's also in her 70s. So.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I got stuck twice in my own driveway. Well, you don't want to get 70-year. Yeah.
I saw the video. I said, didn't your neighbor come help you push?
I had some guy going down. Thank God that guy was able to stop. He just stopped and tried to help me for a little while. I was trying to run him off because I didn't want to deal with somebody else watching me get mad at the whole thing. I knew I could eventually get it out, but I just didn't want him around. But he tried pushing it, tried rocking it, and I had a couple of notions about how to get some traction. I took the floorboard covers off and ran them under the wheels, but that never worked. I just ultimately had to dig it out.
I tried that. That works. if you're lucky, you'll shoot them across the yard.
That's it. That's what I did. I shot them a couple of times.
Ellis, I always enjoy your videos of your antics at your house.
Yeah.
You want another little truck? I don't know why. Just because they're handy.
Yeah, they are handy. But I tell you what, that little Toyota, it's probably one of the worst vehicles you could have out there in the snow, especially with the tread I've got on them anymore. It's just way too light to be out there.
Well, that's the problem. I have my Subaru. It's 4-wheel drive, but I don't have winter tires, and my tires are not good. I need new tires, and it's lightweight, and the bias on it is it's 4-wheel drive, but the drive wheels it's biased towards the rear wheels.
Oh, I thought it was biased toward the front wheels. I thought it was a front wheel drive mainly.
It's a performance car, so they want a little bit of oversteer in it. So, but I go around corners, dude. I go around them sideways all the time in that car. It's fun, but man, the pucker factor is big on it.
Yeah. I've been in your car while you were aiming for the pucker factor. Yeah.
It's a fun car, but man, that's why I said if I don't get a shower, I ain't going to work tomorrow. But if I do, I still not. I can work from the house, so it's not that big a deal. Except I need to go in to get stuff done.
Try having a rear wheel drive Challenger. You talking about the old muscle car type of Challenger?
Oh,
Natasha?
No. Like one of my employees used to have a Challenger.
Yeah.
But it's
well, they are making the new Challengers that look like the old muscle cars. I think. I used to drive them at what do you call it? Avis. Avis.
Hey, Natasha, one of my employees had a Challenger, and he drove it through some high water, and something about the way the intake is on those, it sucked water in it. So be careful if you go through high water. Yeah. I don't know how high it was, but he killed the engine in his. And apparently it's fairly easy to do, so just be careful about
killed
that.
It as in he totaled it? Well, or just killed it? It just went off, and then it had to dry out.
He sucked water into the engine, and it hydrolocked it, which means it got water. Okay, water won't compress, right? We talked about that.
Yep.
So if you get water in the cylinder, it will stop it from compressing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he actually physically broke something but it
through a rod.
To Dodge today. Oh my gosh. That's pretty crazy. Challengers are cool though. If I had money, I'd have a Demon for sure. But I have a 2017 Subaru WRX that's great to drive. It's fun to drive. It's pretty quick. It's not a Challenger, but it's pretty fast. It's about a 5-second 0 to 60 car. But
they got these Australian guys.
What?
Those Australian guys call that kind of a car a nugget. They're always bragging about those Subarus on that show I gave you a link to one time.
I would buy another one in a heartbeat, but mine, if you get the STI, which is about $38,000, you can adjust whether the drive is more at the front or rear in the back. It's got an adjustment on the dash. It electronically does it. Mine's a base model that I got for $25,000 new, and it doesn't have that. So, but I get 28 miles a gallon. The STIs get about 19. So it's the trade-off. But
Natasha,
I love the car. It's fun to drive, man.
Natasha says they're pretty sick. Yep.
Yeah, I really, really like that car. It's really cool. I need to get tires. I want to get raised white letter tires for it, but they're hard to find nowadays. But I've seen some WRXs with them on it online, and they're really cool looking. Yeah, I love the car. But on the snow, it definitely wants to go around. It goes around corners sideways. That's okay. But Anyway, if it doesn't matter if I get water, I ain't going into work tomorrow. So
Yeah, it's bad news. I got out and thought I needed to get out. I thought for one thing I was headed for my walk. I thought, well, I've got everything. I did all that snow moving yesterday, and I
oh yeah,
thought, well, look at that. Everything looks kind of normal out there. And I got out there and discovered it was just awful. I went down May Avenue and discovered I'm going to get stuck here just waiting at lights and trying to move on from the light. It was tough. And so I got all the way, and then the other big trouble I had was I went to Walmart, and I thought, well, surely the Walmart will have its lot kind of maintained or whatever. No, I had to go to Chris. They at least ran a plow through their lot.
which
And
Walmart?
well, it's out here on the what do you call it, 44? I guess that's it. I get, isn't that it? The number 44?
Oh no, 240.
Two. Well, yeah, but the one that heads toward the turnpike to Lawton.
Oh yeah, I didn't know there was a Walmart over there.
Yeah, there is now, right next to the where the new Amazon is. You don't get over here much. Well, I thought that was practically your commute. I thought you went by because you always are stopping at my half price books.
Only on Fridays.
Okay, so that's
And
not. This isn't your usual route, huh?
No, not really. Normally I go up to I-40.
Okay.
The transmissions are a pain to replace when they go out. Well, if the transmission goes out, it's paid off. It's been paid off for a couple of years. I'm buying another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything like that is, yeah.
Yeah, I burned up a transmission on a Subaru.
I
On my Brat.
I bought the car and I got a good deal. I got a decent trade in. I paid it off pretty quick, and looking to see if my wife's coming in. I'm just going to drive it, and I'm not going to worry about am I breaking it? Am I
just enjoy it? That's
I'm just driving it. I'm just driving it like I stole it.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure one day I'll break it and walk away.
It's a way to be. Way to be. Don't.
Yeah,
don't.
I'll cry. But...
Well, you cannot help not worrying about that brand new car. But after it's no longer brand new, it's like, okay, let's start enjoying this thing.
About it, that Subaru's always felt kind of bulletproof to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, because
you got good insurance and stuff.
I got good insurance. I got a good warranty.
Uh-huh.
I'm not. Luckily, at this point in life, I'm not overly worried. There have been periods in my life where I've been super concerned about this car breaks. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that right now, thankfully.
I'll share with the audience of Natasha that we had a video that was canceled by YouTube, and it was because I just jokingly called it Trump wins, Biden concedes, and that was just the joke title. And it's obviously clickbaity kind of stuff where someone might come along and maybe say, "What the heck does that mean?" And and then give us a listen and hate us all the more. But I didn't think anything about it, but sure enough, it is no more. And and since it is streamed directly, it's something that's just lost now. Unless of course I could. I've never fought them over anything.
You need to appeal it.
Okay, I'll give it a shot if I can figure that out, how to appeal it. And we'll see if we can get it back, because no telling what we were talking about. It might have been important.
I loaded some videos that literally were old sermons, and it got banned, and I appealed it because it was banned within like 2 minutes of being uploaded. I said it's an hour long audio of an old sermon that I've retained for historical reasons, and there's no way it could have been listened to and banned within the 2 minutes. I mean, immediately as
Yeah,
soon as I uploaded,
you hit something. You hit something on the algorithm that said kill this. Yeah,
yep, yep, and I
interesting.
was like, nope, we're not. Yeah, I was very emphatic about it. There's no way this is bull.
You know,
How
there's
long did?
something I can't believe that I have never seen this, but there's this old show called it was by the Firesign Theater, or at least a couple guys that were in Firesign Theater, called J Men Forever. And I always thought I'd watched in its entirety the old Republic serial Spy Smasher.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's on Amazon Prime.
Spice Smasher is.
Yeah, Spy Smasher is. And that thing, I have not seen hardly any of it. I just saw the clips from that stupid show. And oh my God, the fight scenes in Spy Smasher are just such masterpieces of choreography. It's just really cool.
Okay, I have to watch it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll I imagine
Um,
it'll hook you. It'll hook
well,
you.
I like those serials. I used to watch them on when I was a kid. I'd watch them on like Friday nights. They'd put them on real late. But I never saw Spy Smasher. They were always some of them were always Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
There were 3 or 4 Flash
Oh,
Gordon
well,
ones.
see, that's the deal. Flash Gordons have the world's worst fight choreography. It's like it's exactly what you do when you've got no planning whatsoever. And you say, okay, now it's the fight scene. And what you have is a couple guys that have to grab each other and tussle,
Yeah,
you
kind
know,
of portrait
and
fight.
while the camera records just how fake you look at fighting. And William Whitney, who's the director of this, did the world's best fight scenes. And you could say that their lineage goes all the way to Jackie Chan, because what he's doing is a guy being thrown backwards over furniture, and then the cut is quick enough that the guy that got thrown over the furniture is instantly on his feet and back into action. But it requires a cut, of course. He's not having him fight
Yeah.
gravity every second, and at no point do these guys clash and nothing's happening. They're always just walloping each other, and it's they're just great fights. But
I'll check it
yeah,
out because I'm
yeah,
always
check it out.
watch on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, if it's on Amazon, it's you can at least sample it. Yeah. What was we talking about on Amazon the other day? Oh, they got some great stuff. Of course, I've been watching these not stupid, these Netflix serials, and I'm finding that when you give me a TV program, I'm likely going to binge. If I watch one of them, I'll end up watching all of the whole series, I guess, because you get
That's
started on a
one.
story and you get kind of hooked.
Well, people have kind of criticized me because my wife and I are watching Mandalorian, and we're watching one episode a week.
Uh huh.
And people
Oh
are like, "Why are you not binging it?" It's like I don't want to sit there all day and watch. You know, I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
why.
yeah.
Well, first
And
off,
plus, it'll kind of diminish it anyway. I say I'm calling it binging. I can't stand the binging. Usually they aren't good enough to binge,
well,
but I will return to them.
that's what I was getting ready to say. I think the Mandalorian. I think it works better if you don't binge it
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
because they. I don't. They're the. Have you seen any of them, Ellis?
No, no, that's yeah, that Disney Plus or whatever.
The frustrating thing about the Mandalorian is you watch it and you can go, well, that's like a Clint Eastwood movie, or that's like Akira Kurosawa movie, or that's.
You
I mean,
you see
it's
what the
so obvious
nods? Yeah, you see what the nods are
so
to. Yeah.
what they're drawn from, but it's
Hmm.
frustrating because like, oh, okay. So I think if I had to watch a whole bunch of them at once, I'd be really frustrated with stuff like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
But they're decent. I don't I don't know. I don't think they're great as such. Everybody seems to love them, but what do I know though?
The only thing I binge watched was Breaking Bad. Yeah, that's a good one probably for binge watching, but I think I was catching those on a weekly basis when I saw them. Uh, yeah, and just being blown away by. Oh man, at the time there was probably nothing better written that had ever come along in my
I did
my
not like
impression.
I did not like Breaking Bad. I I don't know. It was
Well,
okay.
it's very negative. Yeah, I mean you could say,
Yeah. I like Better Call Saul so much better.
oh yeah,
I can't wait for whenever the next season of that is. I want to see more Gene in Better Call Saul. Is what I want to see.
she's great.
No Gene,
Oh
his
oh
the Cinnabon
oh. Okay, yeah. His story, his arc.
story,
Yeah.
his post Breaking Bad story.
Hmm.
Even though
Yeah, find out what's gone on with him in terms of like who who's revealed him for one thing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, if he's been revealed, except I have a feeling it's going to end bad for him,
oh
which
yeah,
I'm not going to. But hey, it is what it is. He chose his path.
yeah. He just couldn't. He's got the personality that has brought him there. That's true.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I like it better now. His brother's dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That could get a little old, couldn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, could be like they did the same thing. I don't know if you're watching that Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, but they do the same thing in it. And I got frustrated with that pretty early. And I just watched it on YouTube. But when they put season one on YouTube, and I watched it, but it was frustrating because they would show one episode and make it look like one guy. Oh, this is the despicable person, and then
Hmm.
another one would be like, oh no, he's the good guy. This guy, they were real good about making it look like one guy was terrible one week, and that's what they were doing with Chuck and what's his face,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I got tired of that.
Yeah. The Chuck and the brother were just kind of like a little swing set of back and forth
Yeah,
discoveries of this and that. Yeah, you're right.
the brother was
Discovering that
wrong.
his brother always just
Hey,
didn't think much of him really.
yeah, resented him for what he did. I guess they're going back to their dad, him,
Yeah.
stealing dad, and you know, it's funny though because I know people that have gone there. I know I won't say names. I don't think they're listening, but I mean I know people that have gone their entire life and they've let their baggage, that kind of baggage, just like drag them down. They carry stuff. When I was, they're 58 and they talk about when I was 7. This happened to me, and I mean
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it,
Oh yeah. It's like,
whatever,
what?
but good grief, at some
Are you
point,
kidding? Yeah.
yeah, point you got to move on. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess people don't obviously, but I think you have to, for your own sake, you have to learn to
Yeah.
cope with it. If
Yeah.
it's therapy or whatever, you got to, because you can't go through life. Man, I mean, I know people that are still mad at people and resent or regret that they never got a chance to apologize. People that have been dead for 10 years. It's
Hmm.
like, I mean, I get it, I get, but it's like, well, you can't
You're
do that.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it at this point. So
Yeah.
why wear yourself out over
Well,
nothing?
stuff surfacing in a person's mind, it is probably the definition of mental illness in terms of like
Yeah,
not being able to really control it.
yeah,
And you have to have something that uh, becomes some sort of substitute flow for the brain.
Yeah.
than that. But that sort of like way too busy mind is a big problem for lots of people. I mean, that probably
Yeah.
is the definition of people's mental problems is a mind that should be focused on other things.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'm just too busy to.
Well, that's the deal. You're lucky. Probably a lot of people could say, I wish I would quit thinking of this, you know.
Yeah. I honestly, that's one thing I love about drawing comics is it takes
Hmm.
so much brain power, so much concentration that you either sit here and don't get anything drawn and worry about, I don't have water, worry about your parents, worry about whatever, or you draw and forget about all that stuff.
Yeah, it does. It is pretty much a fully engaging thing. And plus, it's that part of your brain that isn't dealing with words. Uh,
Yes.
I say it takes a word to start, but once you are drawing, that is the part of your brain that is the nonverbal side. And so
Yeah.
you aren't crashing through forming little essays in your mind about this or that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my new script, and I took your advice about a conflict on every page. And so
Hmm.
in this guy's going to get his bag, and these guys are going to come up and steal his bag.
Yeah, and he's going to display just what, a fraction of his ability getting it back.
No. He's not going to display it, but in his
Oh,
mind, he's going to think about how lucky. Okay, I want to read you
how
the
lucky
not.
they are that he let
I'll
them
read it.
live. Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, on the next page, Paul, that's our protagonist, punches the guy grabbing his bag. Paul, hey, the thug, ugh. Paul punches the guy grabs. So they kind of come up on either side of him. One guy grabs him. One guy grabs his bag, and so he punches the guy, and the guy drops the bag, and then Paul tells him stop. And the other guy. Oh, by the way, they're both bald. Okay,
Okay.
Macho and Layla are the reason I. Yeah. Hey, General Grudge is here.
Yep. Hey,
Okay.
General Grudge.
So Paul says, stop. And so the other thug says, scratch the plan, get out of here. And so they run different directions. And then Paul is going to think, those guys don't know how lucky they got. And then he
Hmm.
thinks, I swore that wouldn't have happened again. That was part of the deal I made. So he's not going to display his power, but he's going to hint at these guys could have been in trouble, you know.
Very cool. Yeah, no, that's exactly the sort of thing that that's the other thing on Prime TV. You talk about your stuff that's automatically got quick conflicts. I uh, I I clicked on some sort of Japanese kind of like comic book looking live action thing from 60s or 70s,
Yeah.
and a detective thing that they were doing back in the 60s. And then I got all the if you like that, you'll probably like this,
Oh yeah.
and all these great suggestions. Now I've got about like 10 of them in my watch list, and they are just fun. This stuff they were doing in the 50s and 60s, that was their their detectives and their criminal stuff. Oh man, it is fun to watch because it's always so visual, and you got to turn the caption on. Of course, you got to read it, but it's fun. I'm going to catch up with a lot. And the other thing I watched recently is I may have sent the group an email about this, but if you ever get a chance, well, you could watch it anytime you wanted to on Canopy. It's called not George, Bob the Gambler is a
Oh yeah.
French. You could call it. It's more like new wave. In fact, I think Ebert said it holds a legitimate claim to being the first new wave
Oh,
of
really?
the French that particular style of filmmaking. And yeah, it's got a couple of things that you could say depart from new wave, but it's pretty much that spirit. And it's a great little story, man. I really dug it every bit, but it made me think. I said, I could recommend this to uh, anybody I knew, and realize once they started watching it, they just quit because it's not got anything that the modern audience can sit through.
Oh, that's
They're
slow.
too impatient. Yeah, the whole first 30 minutes is strictly character stuff, and your modern audience isn't going to sit through it. But I really enjoyed that. And then of course, I also sent you the other note about the Santa Sangre, the story. Forget everything you've ever seen. I think is the title in there somewhere. But there you'd have to watch Santa Sangre before you'd appreciate it as
Is that on
much.
Prime?
It's
Santa.
on Canopy. It's on Canopy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Santa Sangre and the doc are on Canopy.
Oh, okay. I hardly ever watch anything on Canopy. I get on there and I look and I find stuff, but I'm always like,
Yeah.
I don't know. A few things I've watched that I like.
Yeah, well, that's the deal. Once you start, you have to make sure you get around to watching it because they
You only get
restart the count, so you can come
yeah.
along and use all your credits just to watch one movie.
So Canopy for anybody who's watching this, the local library. Our local library has it's a video lending, but it's a streaming, so you can
Yeah.
check out eight movies per month, and they have all kinds of Criterion stuff. A lot of it is not mainstream stuff by any means.
Oh no, man! I tell you what, I'm thinking about canceling Shutter because they have got everything Shutter has got. They've got more splatterfest movies than you can imagine for something that is part of the library system. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
not sure. I'm not sure about Canopy being a local thing. What
no,
do
no,
you
no.
think?
It's our local library has it.
Really? You sure? Okay. Okay.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna check on. I'm gonna check on that. Hey,
yeah,
yeah, some big jerk, Gene Hole. Yep, and General Grudge saying hi to each other in the
the
comments.
uh, uh, but they have a lot of Criterion stuff, and you know what I watched? I think I sent you a link to this, Ellis. They had a great documentary on there about Canadian graphic design, which is
Huh?
the weirdest thing. But
Yeah.
apparently, at one of the, I don't know if it was an Olympics or a World's Fair, and maybe in a World's Fair that was in Canada, and they had a big push to have this to develop this Canadian identity that was based on graphic design, and it's so cool.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think that stuff is awesome, but
Yeah, I know you do, but that's the thing. I remember I remember the time that you started talking on the Better Than Fiction about that documentary on Helvetica,
yeah.
and I remember, those two guys. You could just practically see their eyes rolling back in their head. They didn't want to hear you
Well,
talking about that documentary on Helvetica.
the first off, they're like, "What's Helvetica?"
Yeah, yeah,
Second off, they're like, well, "It's a font. You really watch a documentary about a font? Are you crazy?"
yeah.
It's a great documentary.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 all that kind of stuff. A good doc. Anymore, I think I'd rather watch a good doc than just about anything. Uh, I guess
So,
that's just the way old people, or in my case, we start getting built that way. It's like cram something more into my brain that I don't know already. Yep.
well, here's I like the Helvetica documentary and the Canadian documentary, and there's something else I watched that was about because I'm interested in graphic design because graphic design it really influences just it's the way the world looks.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and Helvetica, it was cool because Helvetica is used in its, now there's kind of a backlash against it, but for a
Kind of like
time,
Comic Sans. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
comics too, but Helvetica was such a, there was such a, just when it came out, and this is what the documentary talks about, when it came out, it was so widely used, you know, it just suddenly seems like the the font to use for all this signage. And I think signage is pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said,
I'm gonna say this, and it might not be right, but I think if you use Comic Sans in your comic book, I don't think you can get it on Comixology. I think that is it's a
that's
done
the,
deal. They reject it based on that.
well, first off, I think that's it. First off, you're probably right. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Second off, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is
So,
ridiculous. You ought to be able to say, okay, this will be a laugh. I'll use Comic Sans and have it be a style decision, or it doesn't matter if it's not a style decision. It's like go ahead and
yeah.
let people do what they want to do.
Well, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with them knocking it as a kind of a, well, I don't, well, we need to look at this a little closer. But I do have a problem with them just going, well,
Yeah.
okay, we're denying because of this.
Thought police, style police,
Yeah, exactly.
just being snooty about the
Exactly.
level of something.
Yeah,
I guess they're going to reject anything that looks, like a half thought out webtoon or something like that. But I don't know. Even that stuff, it's like, hey, man, if you can figure out how to do a PDF, you're going to be able to put it on Amazon, which is, of course, puts out Comixology, or
yeah.
I think they own it.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's
like,
well,
why be snooty?
Judge it on its merits. Don't judge it because of some arbitrary rule. It's just like what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the time that I went at San Diego. I went to the image thing, and they said, and it was I don't know, the guy who was in charge of image at the time, whoever it was, and it was out of San Diego, and somebody, the people were asking questions. Somebody said, are you open? Now this was in the early 2000s, so it's pre-Walking Dead. Somebody said, well, are you open to, what are you looking for? And they said, oh, we're open to any genre. And they said, any genre. And then the guy thought about it. And he thought, well, no, westerns. We're not open to westerns.
Yeah,
Well, wait a minute. Judge it on its merit. That's kind of my thing. But
well, I think anybody could come along and blow them away with a western. That's the deal. Everything is totally dependent on that. If somebody comes along and they're just stylistically something that you didn't know, it's like James Warren when he first was introduced to Bernie Wrightson. He was already laying the law down to him that you're not going to be able to do this or that because I'm only in with the very best and the most experienced of artists. And then, he looked at that Bernie Wrightson work and he says, oh, yeah, you can start.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty easy to shrug that aside in terms of like a gatekeeper.
That's what my guys at work. We get a lot of stuff where people come in and they don't really know what they want. So anybody that's listening, in case they don't know, at my work, I run a couple of departments. One of the departments that I run is what's called our tool and die department, and we do a lot of coins, like challenge coins, among other things. But we do challenge coins, and a lot of times people won't really know exactly what they want. And I always tell those guys, if you don't have to, if somebody asks for something terrible, and you don't give them exactly what they're asking for, but you make it look great, they'll go for it if it looks cool. But you got to blow them away. If you don't blow them away, then you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to make the sale. Yeah.
Exactly. Or they'll keep, what they do is they keep changing it, and you do a million revisions to the art. Yeah. But it's like blow them away right out of the gate. You're way ahead of the deal. But unfortunately, that's not the easiest thing to do all the time.
No, no, no.
But
That sort of thing is very tough to
yeah.
deal with the public in general. Yeah,
Anyway, hey, it's 8. Actually, it's 10 after 8. I need to
yeah.
go.
It's
I
an
don't know.
hour, just about
Yeah.
exactly right
Lay out.
now. We've been on an hour. Bam. Okay. Well, Scott, it's good to talk to you, and you need to go, and you
Thank
gotta
you.
go.
Oh, hang on. Don't buy sketch pads from Walmart. Nope. Nope. Pencil. Yeah. Nope. I don't. Yeah, I don't buy. I'm kind of picky about my sketch pads.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you
Oh,
are.
I got a new one. I got a new one, Ellis.
Okay.
I had a Barnes and Noble coupon, and so I bought me. This is a moleskin, which I've got a couple around here, but they made one that's 400 pages. You know,
Wow.
I
Nice.
haven't even.
Yeah.
I stuck a.
Yeah, that's a high quality little piece of yeah, yeah, and you always modify them with a
Oh,
cover.
I haven't drawn anything in it yet, but I was like, man, how can I turn that down? I had a 20% off coupon, and I had a gift card. So, but yeah, list on that's $30, which is a little pricey, but 400 pages, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, anything you want to say? I'll sign us off.
good. Thanks for joining us. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. I haven't put any new content up, but I will once my life returns to normal, which will probably never happen. But it's a thought.
Okay.
Either way,
Rest in peace, Rush. Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna miss him, man.
Yeah. Okay.
And no matter what you
Go
think
ahead.
about it, politics or whatever, I thought it was super entertaining.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You had to give him a chance to realize that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Goodbye.